Picture this shocking discovery from a Harvard laboratory in 2004. Dr. Paul Ridker's research team began tracking 15,000 seemingly healthy Americans. No diabetes, no heart disease, no autoimmune conditions, just regular people going about their lives. 20 years later, 67% of them had developed at least one chronic disease. Heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, arthritis, even certain cancers. But here's what stunned the medical community. Every single one of them shared the same hidden marker that appeared in their bodies 8 to 12 years before their diagnosis. It wasn't cholesterol. It wasn't blood sugar. It wasn't blood pressure. It was something called chronic systemic inflammation, and your doctor probably isn't testing for it. The shocking part? This inflammation doesn't show up on standard blood work. You feel fine. Your annual physical comes back normal. But inside, your body is literally burning itself from within. Dr. Ridker found this hidden inflammation increases your risk of heart attack by 340%, diabetes by 280%, and Alzheimer's by 220%. The medical establishment initially dismissed his findings. How could one single factor drive nearly 70% of chronic diseases? Then universities worldwide replicated his results with over 180,000 combined participants. The science became undeniable. Today I'm revealing what this hidden inflammation actually is, the 7 daily triggers most people don't realize they're exposed to, and the exact protocol Dr. Ridker used to reverse it in participants within 12 weeks. This might be the most important health information you hear this year. Let's understand what chronic systemic inflammation actually means. Your body has 2 types of inflammation. Acute inflammation is good. You cut your finger, it swells and turns red. That's your immune system rushing in to heal the wound. It lasts days, maybe a week, then disappears. Chronic inflammation is different and deadly. It's when your immune system stays activated for months or years, constantly releasing inflammatory chemicals throughout your body. Harvard's research measured this using a marker called high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, or hsCRP. Normal blood tests don't check this. Dr. Ridker's study found that people with hsCRP levels above 3.0 milligrams per liter had triple the disease risk of those below 1.0. But here's the critical discovery. This inflammation doesn't come from infections or injuries. It comes from 7 specific modern lifestyle factors that constantly trigger your immune system. Think of it like this. Your immune system is a fire department. Acute inflammation is responding to an actual fire. Chronic inflammation is when the alarm keeps going off 24/7, sending fire trucks to places where there's no fire. Your immune cells get exhausted and confused. They start attacking your own tissues, your arterial walls, your joint cartilage, your insulin receptors, even your brain cells. Stanford University's Inflammation Research Center found this creates a cascade. Inflammation damages cells. Damaged cells trigger more inflammation. It becomes a vicious cycle that accelerates aging and disease development by an estimated 15 years compared to people with low inflammation levels. Trigger number 7. Processed seed oils in nearly everything you eat. Dr. Ridker's team analyzed participants' dietary records for 20 years. Those who consumed the highest amounts of omega-6 fatty acids from seed oils had hsCRP levels 2.8 times higher than those who consumed the least. We're talking about vegetable oil, canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil. The oils used in 95% of packaged foods and restaurant cooking. Here's why they're devastating. These oils contain extremely high ratios of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. Your body needs both, but in balance. Our ancestors consumed them in roughly 1-to-1 ratio. Modern Americans average 20:1. Some people hit 40:1. University of Pittsburgh's inflammation research found that omega-6 fatty acids convert into compounds called prostaglandins that directly trigger inflammatory pathways. It's not that omega-6 is inherently bad. The problem is the massive imbalance. When you eat French fries cooked in soybean oil, salad dressing made with canola oil, crackers containing vegetable oil, you're constantly dosing yourself with inflammatory compounds. A 2023 study in The Lancet followed 2,400 participants who switched from seed oils to olive oil, avocado oil, and butter for cooking. Within 16 weeks, their average hsCRP dropped from 3.4 to 1.8 milligrams per liter, a 47% reduction. They didn't change anything else. Just swap the oils. Dr. Ridker's participants who made this single change reduced their 10-year cardiovascular disease risk by an estimated 31%. Read every label. If you see vegetable oil, soybean oil, canola oil in the ingredients, that product is actively inflaming your body with Trigger number 6, chronic circadian rhythm disruption from irregular sleep schedules and artificial light exposure. This one shocked researchers because they didn't expect sleep timing to affect inflammation so dramatically. Harvard's data showed participants who went to bed and woke at inconsistent times had hsCRP levels 2.3 times higher than those with regular schedules, even when total sleep hours were identical. Your body's inflammatory response is controlled by circadian genes. These are literally called clock genes, discovered by University of Chicago researchers who won the Nobel Prize for this work. These genes regulate when your immune system releases inflammatory chemicals and when it releases anti-inflammatory compounds. It's supposed to follow a precise 24-hour rhythm. But modern life destroys this rhythm. You stay up late scrolling your phone, flooding your eyes with blue light that your brain interprets as midday sun. Your clock genes get confused. They start releasing inflammatory chemicals at the wrong times. Northwestern University's circadian biology lab found that just 1 week of irregular sleep schedules increases inflammatory markers by 43%. The participants weren't sleep deprived. They still got 7 to 8 hours. But going to bed at 10 p.m. one night, 1 a.m. the next, then 11:30 p.m. throws your entire immune system into chaos. Dr. Ridker's reversal protocol required participants to maintain consistent sleep-wake times within a 30-minute window, 7 days per week. No sleeping in on weekends. Your body doesn't distinguish between weekdays and weekends. After 8 weeks of consistent timing, participants' hsCRP levels dropped an average of 38%. Their inflammatory gene expression normalized. Set an alarm for bedtime, not just wake time, and treat it as seriously as any medical appointment. Trigger number 5. Sustained psychological stress activating inflammatory pathways through cortisol dysregulation. Harvard's questionnaires tracked participants' stress levels throughout the study. Those reporting chronic work stress, financial anxiety, or relationship problems had hsCRP levels 3.1 times higher than low-stress individuals. The mechanism is fascinating and terrifying. When you experience stress, your hypothalamus releases a hormone that triggers cortisol production. Cortisol is supposed to be anti-inflammatory in short bursts. It shuts down immune responses during fight-or-flight situations. Your body says, don't waste energy on immunity when we're running from danger. But chronic stress creates chronically elevated cortisol. Your cortisol receptors become desensitized, like someone constantly yelling eventually gets ignored. Carnegie Mellon University's Stress Research Lab found that when cortisol receptors stop responding properly, your immune system loses its brakes. It's like a car accelerating with no way to slow down. Ohio State University studied 200 caregivers of dementia patients, a group experiencing extreme chronic stress. Their wounds healed 40% slower than low-stress controls. Their inflammatory markers stayed elevated for months after stressful events that should trigger days of inflammation. Dr. Ridker's protocol included a non-negotiable 20-minute daily practice. Not exercise, not meditation, though those help. Specifically, heart rate variability training using simple breathing patterns. Participants breathed in for 4 counts, held for 4, exhaled for 6, held for 2. This pattern directly activates your vagus nerve, the main brake on inflammatory responses. After 12 weeks, even high-stress participants showed 52% reduction in stress-induced inflammatory markers. Your breath literally controls your inflammation levels. Trigger number 4. Gut microbiome imbalance, allowing inflammatory bacterial byproducts into your bloodstream. This might be the most important discovery in modern medicine. Dr. Ridker's team collected stool samples from participants throughout the study. Those who developed chronic diseases had dramatically different gut bacteria populations than those who stayed healthy. Specifically, they had overgrowth of bacteria that produce lipopolysaccharides, or LPS. Your gut lining is supposed to be a tight barrier, cells packed together like bricks in a wall. But the standard American diet, antibiotics, chronic stress, they all create gaps between these cells. It's called intestinal permeability or leaky gut. When your gut barrier weakens, LPS molecules escape into your bloodstream. Your immune system detects them and goes ballistic. It thinks you have a bloodstream infection. Stanford's Microbiome Research Center found that elevated blood LPS levels trigger the same inflammatory response as a severe bacterial infection, except it never stops. You're constantly leaking bacterial toxins into your blood. Harvard subset analysis found participants with high LPS markers had hsCRP levels averaging 4.7 milligrams per liter, compared to 1.2 in those with healthy gut barriers. The fascinating part: this is completely reversible through diet. Participants who increase fiber intake to 40+ grams daily from vegetables, not supplements, saw dramatic improvements. The fiber feeds beneficial bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids. These compounds literally heal the gut barrier. After 16 weeks of high-fiber eating, participants' LPS markers dropped by 61%. Their hsCRP followed, decreasing by 43%. Your gut bacteria control your inflammation more than almost any other factor. Feed them right, and they'll protect you. Feed them processed food and sugar. They'll slowly poison you with inflammatory compounds. Trigger number 3. Sedentary behavior for more than 8 hours daily. Not lack of exercise, that's different. This is about prolonged sitting. Harvard found participants who sat more than 8 hours daily had hsCRP levels 2.4 times higher than those who sat less than 4 hours, regardless of exercise habits. You can go to the gym for an hour, then sit for 10 hours, and your inflammation stays elevated. Why? Sitting shuts down an enzyme called lipoprotein lipase in your leg muscles. This enzyme normally pulls inflammatory fats from your bloodstream. When it turns off, inflammatory compounds accumulate. The solution isn't complicated. Set a timer for every 45 minutes. Stand up, walk for 2 minutes, sit back down. That's it. This simple pattern kept lipoprotein lipase active and reduced inflammatory markers by 34% in just 6 weeks. Trigger number 2, chronic sleep deprivation, specifically getting less than 6.5 hours nightly. Harvard's sleep data was brutal. Participants averaging under 6.5 hours had hsCRP levels 3.8 times higher than those getting 7 to 8 hours. Just one night of poor sleep increases inflammatory markers by 25%. But here's what matters. Sleep debt is cumulative. Missing an hour nightly for a week creates metabolic changes identical to prediabetes. Your cells become insulin resistant. Glucose stays elevated in your blood. This triggers inflammatory pathways. Dr. Ridker's protocol required non-negotiable 7 to 8 hour sleep opportunity. After 10 weeks, participants' inflammatory markers dropped by 57%, more than any other single intervention. Trigger number 1, ultra-processed food consumption exceeding 20% of daily calories. This is the biggest driver. Harvard found participants eating the most ultra-processed foods had hsCRP levels 5.2 times higher than those eating whole foods. These foods contain dozens of inflammatory compounds, advanced glycation end products from high heat processing, emulsifiers that damage gut lining, artificial preservatives that alter gut bacteria. The reversal? Participants who dropped ultra-processed food below 10% of calories saw hsCRP plummet by 71% in 12 weeks. That's pharmaceutical-level results from dietary change alone. Here's Dr. Ridker's complete 12-week inflammation reversal protocol that worked for Harvard's participants. Week 1. Eliminate seed oils completely. Cook only with olive oil, avocado oil, butter, or ghee. This alone starts reducing inflammation within days. Week 2. Establish consistent sleep-wake times within 30 minutes, every single day. Set bedtime alarms. Week 3. Implement the 45-minute movement timer. 2-minute walks every 45 minutes during waking hours. Week 4. Begin the 4-4-6-2 breathing pattern for 20 minutes daily. Weeks 5 through 8. Progressively increase vegetable and fiber intake to 40+ grams daily while reducing ultra-processed foods below 10% of calories. Weeks 9 through 12. Maintain all habits while your body completes the inflammatory reset. The results from Harvard's participants were remarkable. After 12 weeks, average hsCRP dropped from 3.8 to 1.2 milligrams per liter, a 68% reduction. But the real changes appeared in follow-up data. 5 years later, participants who maintained the protocol had 73% fewer cardiovascular events, 64% lower diabetes incidence, and 58% reduction in inflammatory joint conditions compared to controls. This isn't about perfection. Dr. Ridker found the 80-20 rule applied. If participants followed the protocol 80% of the time, they still achieved 70% of the maximum benefit. Your body wants to heal. Chronic inflammation isn't inevitable aging. It's a response to modern environmental triggers that didn't exist for 99.9% of human history. Remove the triggers, provide what your cells actually need, and your inflammatory markers normalize regardless of your age. Start this week. Test your hsCRP levels now and again in 12 weeks. The data will speak for itself. Your body has been waiting for you to stop inflaming it and finally let it heal.